Welcome to Landria Anka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an awesome life. Now, I just worked out and I was going to jump in the shower and get all nice and then shoot some videos, but my friend Kelrick needs my help right now, and I want to address something that so many of us have an issue with. What if our issue is not breaking through fear? What if it's dealing with a difficult person? What if it's not really forgiveness that we have to deal with? What if it's someone in our life that we may not be able to remove ourselves from, and we are challenged with somebody who challenges us? Now, that could be your boss. You're not going to quit your job just because your boss is a jerk, right? If you love your job. If you don't love your job, maybe that you should quit. Most of all, what about a family member? Now, if you're married to somebody who's you've got constant conflict with, then you really probably should look at that relationship and either working on it, with a counselor, or really sitting down and working on it with that person, or exiting it. Because sometimes you just don't get along with certain people. And you're just not going to agree with them, and that includes your family members. Now, I remember taking breaks from my mom once in a while because she would just be downright negative. So I just wouldn't talk to her for periods of time, and then we would talk and it would be great again, and then when she started up, and I think she started to get the hint that, she's not going to hear from me if she is a negative person. But that was okay. Because I was able to give myself some space. Now, what if you can't get space with that person? All right, first of all, the comments that come sometimes from people that are having relationship issues, 9 times out of 10, it's you blaming them. They are who they are. You are not here to change their opinion or to change their personality. That's up to them. And you, by wanting to do that, is you saying that they're wrong and that you're right. And that's just as ego-driven as them telling you what to do. So first of all, take a look at yourself and ask yourself, is my ego in charge here saying that I'm the spiritual person, I'm the person that's doing this and they're, no. Actually, it's the reverse. They are your challenge, and they're testing that whole I'm a spiritual person thing, if that's where you're going, right? Especially when we name her, are you spiritual? Oh, I'm spiritual too. That puts us again into separation from each other. And when people do even that, go to that, oh, we're all spiritual people, that is another form of the ego and the separation. And we have to still move past that. We're just here to live our best possible lives. And that's going to take learning, and that's going to take mistakes, and that's going to take growth. And hopefully it's going to take you just really looking at yourself and saying, what am I doing here? Am I blaming something else, somebody else, or some situation for how I'm feeling and how I'm living my life? And that could be, and you may be interpreting what you're seeing or hearing completely different than what that person means. All right, so I'll give you an example. My friend who wants to give up meat and whose brother served him chicken. Did you know that Buddha was served meat and that's how he supposedly died? I don't have all the facts. But he never refused anything. Even though people knew that he was a vegetarian, if he was offered meat, he would eat it. Now, I wouldn't. We have way too many choices. I'm not out in the middle of the desert somewhere, meditating, and I need food. Supposedly ate some tainted meat and got sick. So the bottom line is, these people were giving him a gift. They were serving him food, and he accepted it because he decided at that moment that it was more important to accept this food and be gracious than it was to say no and reject it because he's a vegetarian. You have the same choice. So by the way, my friends, I've been a vegetarian for a really long time. And my friends to this day will serve me and completely forget. Not because they're ignorant or doing anything wrong. They're not in charge of my dietary, choices. And they give me a gift and they serve food. So guess what I do? I never once say anything unless they ask me. They'll go, oh my gosh, that's right, you're vegetarian. Then I'll say, yeah, but it's no big deal. In fact, I'd rather not say anything in advance of going to a dinner party or anything because I don't want them changing the menu for me. Because I never starve. There is veggies, there is rice, there is always something there that I can eat. And that was the same for you in this situation. You could have said, wow, thank you. Here, this person's giving you food. Thank you. I don't care who it is. Somebody is offering you a gift. Thank you. Oh, he should have. Now here we go. He should have. She should have. They make me feel. They do this. They do that. No, you are completely in charge of your feelings and your actions. Total responsibility. We have to take it. I have a friend that is, every time this person shows up, and I love this person, by the way. I think this person's wonderful, but this person basically does stuff that I don't like. This person wants to hang out with me only for what I can give them, who that I can introduce them to and where I can take them, and I know that. It's a pattern. I don't like that. So when this person is in the room, I actually have to really battle with myself on getting past that and accepting that that's who she is. And not let that get to me, because she is in a dense place. She's actually a really nice person though, but she's in a dense place. She's got her own stuff going on from her childhood, or not feeling important enough, or not having enough money, or not having social status, and she craves that. Her ego is constantly having to do that. She doesn't realize what she's doing and that it's coming off very negatively and making other people feel used. So I have to look at that and say, okay, she's not using me. She's just acting on her ego that needs certain things to feel important or feel worthy or whatever else. I have to reverse everything. And the first thing that we do is we're thinking about ourselves. Me. He shouldn't talk to me like that. She shouldn't do that to me. They should. He should. Here we are. There's no acceptance about each other, our paths, who we are, what we are, how we're acting. We all want the world to act and behave a certain way, and there's always going to be that person that really gets to you. And it's probably a family member or a boss or somebody in authority, because that's the only way they can get to you. Everybody else you can walk away from. But those relationships, those are tough. Those are your most challenging. So that tells me there's work to be done, right? That tells me, guess what? You think you're all that? You're not all that. It's Eckhart Tolle said, if you think you're enlightened, go spend a week with your parents. He had major issues with his parents, and he, even in his awakened state, was challenged whenever he was around them. That doesn't go away, by the way. Even enlightened people have to deal with those feelings, but they use that as an opportunity to grow and move past and show compassion. What's compassion? You don't have to say, oh, I love this person, and you don't feel it. Believe me, there are some people that the last thing I'm feeling is love, ultimately. In the big picture, absolutely. I try not to focus on that individual person who might be doing some horrible things. I think of the big picture of love and unconditional love and forgiveness for us being jerks sometimes. That includes me and that includes you. We've all done stuff, said stuff, let our ego do things that we think is right at the time. And then, so you have to ask yourself, are you being righteous? You're the right one and they should act a certain way. That person is feeling just as strongly about what they feel and think and believe. Just as strongly. And they may think that they're helping you. Your brother, who's offering you all this stuff and thinks that you should be, going to school and making a ton of money, thinks he's offering wonderful guidance to you. He thinks that he is being a good brother and he is helping you. And even if that's his ego doing that, like, aren't I great? That's okay. At least you understand where he's coming from. That's his path right now. That's where he is right now. And you are too. Because if you're still reacting to him as if you're right and vegetarian and not wanting money is the right way, you are on equal playing ground with him of what he's doing. There's no difference right now. You're equally reacting to that. And by the way, he probably knows he gets to you, but he probably thinks this is great. This is great because I'm helping him. So, regardless of his intentions, you need to focus on you. And that's what we have a tendency to get away from. So I just recently had somebody who, I'm on a big project right now, government project for helping homeless and veterans. We're doing a tech-based project. I've been entrenched in it. I had somebody here in my house for a whole week. I've been super busy. And I missed 2 emails from somebody on something we're going to work on in a few months. There's really nothing to do on it right now, in my opinion. Now, this person didn't get the attention from me that he wanted. And so I get this nasty email, this really bizarre email, going on and on about, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just here living my life, and I missed a couple emails. But we take this stuff and we roll with it. And they're thinking this and, they're trying to this. And they think they're superior to me. And they may not be thinking any of that stuff. Maybe that person's just going, hey, here's some chicken and rice. Aren't I a great guy? And you're going, he should have known I don't. No, he should not have known. My friends, I have to tell them over and over and over if they ask me. And I don't tell them anymore. I just still make my choice. I choose how I feel. I choose what I eat. I choose who I hang out with. And by the way, if you don't like that situation with your brother, then you need to get yourself in a situation where you're not around it. What are you doing to take charge so that you're not being overseen by this person? And then you can take charge of your own life and say, hey, listen, I got my own space over here. I love you, but guess what? I don't want to live your life. I'm going to live mine. I hope you respect that. And I respect yours. I think it's cool. By the way, I was on private jets. It's great. If I could do that over again, I'd be on those jets in a heartbeat. But not at the sacrifice of my happiness. But at that point, at that time when I was doing all those things at investment banking, I loved it. I was living a great life. I had great people I was around. It was all wonderful. There's nothing wrong with wealth. There's nothing wrong with eating meat if that's what you choose at the time. You have to decide where you are in your life. That's all part of the journey. My friend who's having a problem with his brother, what if he goes through all of this and in 10, 20 years, he ditches it all because he did it and now he knows and he's experienced it and he goes off in a mountain and meditates for the rest of his life. Or maybe he lives a really great, abundant life and loves it and has a family and is happy. That's okay. It's possible to do that. We don't all have to be spiritual and broke because we will be spiritually broke if we go there. Right? You don't have to be anything. They don't have to be anything. And when we start to decide what that is, then we become the very thing that we claim we aren't. And that is the ego that's controlling, still listening to the beliefs, all the other stuff that's happening. This is your challenge. So you're still focused on him. You're still focused on that other person, her or him or whoever it is that's irritating you, instead of saying, oh, here it is. Boom, that showed up. That's my little, now what are you going to do with this? Mr. Spiritual, Miss Spiritual. Now what are you going to do? How are you going to handle this? Let's see if you really are what you want to be or claim you are. If you're really living it, or if you just want the world to cater to you because you think you're in this, you know, place. You're still a human being. Until the day you die, you will be a human being in a dense body. That body is going to hopefully raise its frequency up to a higher dimension. That's everything. That's your spirit, your body, everything. It's all together. It's all working together. So you're going to do it? Well, this is part of it. This is part of it. There's no conflict here. This is you having a challenge and learning how to deal with being compassionate, watching those feelings and saying, okay, I'm feeling irritated. Why? Why? And guess what? The issue is not your brother or your boss or your spouse or anybody else. It's you. Because nobody makes you feel bad. Again, if you're in a situation you need to get out of or a person you need to get away from because it's just bad energy, then walk away. But you still use that as your lesson to test yourself as to whether or not you're really practicing what you're preaching. Because I went through something this week with fear. And I really had to work through that because I don't know where, I actually do know where it came from. I had this idea of how things were going to be. It was all good and positive, and plans changed. I asked for acceleration, and I had to do something that completely changed what my plan was. And I'm a real planner. And it made me uncomfortable. And I went ahead and broke through anyways, and I went ahead and did what I needed to do to accelerate, and it turned out to really help move me past this place that I was at, which was very comfortable. But I had to change a few things to move to this accelerated place. So sometimes change, you don't have to, sometimes it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's like, I have a video, when your good habits are bad for you. You know, if you're doing something every day that's good, saving money, doing all these things, and you want to go off, ultimately go off and do certain things, which means you would have to break these habits. Maybe not live in that perfect house for a while, or, you know, not work at that job and save your money. Maybe you have to do something radical and spend the money and you know, change jobs or you know, take a second, do something that's very uncomfortable that goes away from the good habits that society tells us. That is something you have to work through and say, okay, I have to make a decision here. I'm going to have to break through some of my own beliefs that some of them might be good. And say, okay, well, how am I going to handle this? This is not about them. This is about what this outside world is sending me to test me so that I can grow, so that I can break through this stuff and say, wow, okay, I'm feeling anger, or I'm feeling resentment. Why? Trust me, it's much deeper than this person just offering you chicken and being, you know, disregarding, disrespectful. That is not what's going on at all. There is something else. Either he's the golden child and you're trying to prove something, or he thinks he's the golden child and you're trying to prove something, that your way is better. This is a whole conflict that's going on right now. So don't try and convince anybody. They are allowed their opinion. That's why I don't get into debates. I love discussions. If we can help each other, you know, think differently through discussions, that's awesome. But when somebody point blank is just going to argue something from a dense place, don't go there. Smile. Say, okay, that's interesting. They can tell you what they think. Okay, wow, that's interesting. And you can change the subject. You do not have to get caught up in that. Somebody offers you meat and you're a vegetarian, you say, oh, thank you. You know what? I'm going to eat this. Do you want this meat? I'm going to eat this chicken. And so don't let it go to waste. Say, I'm going to give this to you. Or you take it home and give it to your dog. That's what I do. Well, the animals, I don't have a dog anymore, he died. I give it to my animals. They love it. It's all good. It's all good. Use this. This is like, whoa, here's an opportunity. I got an opportunity right now. What am I going to do with it? Instead, I'm especially the money thing. Oh, Landry, I'm broke and abundance doesn't come to me. I'm like, no wonder, because listen how you're talking. Instead of saying, okay, this is a challenge. What am I going to do with it? How am I going to change the situation? I'm going to focus on that. How am I going to bring money in? I'm going to start looking for a job, and I'm going to look and make phone calls, and guess what? The universe is going to go, woo, okay, not sitting there, like a crybaby. It's actually going to take some action. We're going to help this person, and it starts to line up the right people, and all of a sudden somebody says, you know what? What did you say you do? My brother-in-law, well, he owns a company, and that's happened so many times. But that person is getting themselves out there. They're focusing on the job, getting the money. And those of you who are sitting there complaining, all I have to do is say, read your own email. There's your answer right there. I'm broke. I never attract abundance. I this, I that, and then I'm going, all right, there you go. That was your order to the universe. End of story. Want to change the story? Then maybe you'll change your life. If you're focused on the other person and their negativity, then you've got to ask yourself what you're telling yourself, what you believe, and where you're coming from, and why you're feeling that. There is something going on deep down with that relationship that's striking a chord with you that you need to work on. Because no one makes you feel bad. No one makes you feel anything. Only you can do that. And you can't blame your mommy and daddy for all the things that they did, that they make you feel those things now, because you still are choosing whether or not you hang on to those feelings. And when you feel them, you get to choose whether or not you believe them or react to them, because they will show up. Like I told you, fear will show up. Anger may show up. All these things may show up. It's what you're doing with them as to whether or not it affects you, whether or not it controls you, dictates. When you get caught up in it and you're believing it and you start to get into this whole conversation with yourself. And he shouldn't have done this and this. Maybe he shouldn't have. Who cares? He did. He did. That doesn't mean that you have to react to it in a negative way. Just accept what that person is and what they're going through. And even if they intentionally do something and they know darn well what they're doing, trust me, they are not going in a good place. That is not good for them. That's all their karma that they have to deal with. And don't go there either. Don't go, oh, they're going to get theirs. That's your ego again wanting to punish somebody. So do you see how this just keeps going and going? If somebody does something or they do something negative or whatever, they're in a dark place. They don't even see it, by the way. This email I got from my friend, who's just a lovely person, shocked the heck out of me. I'm like, they went into a dark place. And I said, I think you just went into a dark place because there's nothing going on here. Nothing's changed. And you just told this whole story that you made up in your head about why I didn't write back. I could have been in the hospital in a coma. I didn't bother to ask, are you okay? So do you see what we do? We create all this drama and the stories, and because it's about me, 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 me. And when you start doing that, that's the ego every time. That's the ego. My friends should know I'm a vegetarian. They've known me for 20 years. Who cares? Eat the veggies and shut up. Right? If you have food on your table, be thankful. I have food on my table. I will never starve. I have money all the time. I always have money. No matter what I want, I have the money for it. It always shows up when I need it. And I have more than enough coming in all the time. Or are you saying, oh, well, what was my friend who said they were, they're shooting for small things now because the big stuff, that doesn't work. Your thoughts and feelings apply to the small stuff and the big stuff. It's all one thing. It's not like a power, like, oh, if I focus on little stuff, it'll show up, and the big stuff, I have to get more power to do. No, the little stuff's not going to show up either, because if you're not believing, nothing's going to show up. You've got something else telling you that you can't do that you don't have that power. And I experienced that power twice this week in a meditation that was something I've never experienced before. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you could tap into what I felt for just a few seconds, the power of the universe, it would blow your mind. And you'd realize how tiny we are and act. And when I say we, I mean our egos as human beings. And that what you truly are, if you felt that power, you'd realize all of this stuff that you worry about, it's so ridiculous. It's so meaningless. It has no good purpose. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help me, the universe. We're all one thing. You got to pull away from this stuff and realize how huge you are, how powerful, how magnificent, how limitless, how all of these things all make sense. And that you are here to experience them so that you can break through all the silly, stupid crap that we've been doing to each other since God knows. We don't even have those answers anymore about the history of the world and human beings. But we went wrong somewhere. We did. We went wrong. We took it way too deep, and now we have to fix that. And I say that loosely, you know what I mean? It's all about us going back to who we are. Is this who you are? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. You are limitless. You are the person that can create abundance situations, and when challenges come, you understand that they are part of your growth and progress, and they're going to take you to exactly where you want to be. It's not punishment. It's not bad karma. It's none of the above. It's you not breaking through where you need to break through to get to that beautiful place where you do love your brother, where you do accept him, where all of a sudden he's going to start treating you differently because he's going to see the change in your personality, and there won't be this conflict anymore. And the boss, all of a sudden, when you're going, yeah, I will do that. Can I get you a cup of coffee? I do that all the time. They're like, oh, okay, wow. And then you see them soften and they're nicer, and you do that a few more times, and all of a sudden they're your friend. Because they irritate everybody else, but they're not irritating you. And they see the light shining in you. And the people that you thought were rotten, they'll change right before your eyes because you had that effect on them, because we share that energy. And this is your challenge. All of us. I'm in there with you, man. I'm a human being too. Right? No matter how far advanced we get with our own, spirituality, if you want to call it that, with ourselves, with who we really are. Spirituality to me, it's almost like saying it's some separate thing. You're just a light being. You're just a light being. Just. And all of that. You're a light, beautiful being. Just have to connect to it. It's not something you have to achieve. It's what you are. Just pull those veils off the garbage. Knock it off. Aren't you exhausted? I'm exhausted. Hearing this stuff. By the way, I don't mean that like you guys shouldn't send in your comments. I love that. I want to help you. I just feel your pain. Not really. I don't really feel the pain. So what do? I have compassion for you. There we go. I don't want to suffer anymore, do you? I'm done with that. That's old news. See, words. Yeah, I gotta watch my words sometimes because stop suffering, would you? Just love. You don't have to love that person. I know it's tough. Just go, okay, I love life. Life is beautiful. I can have whatever I want. What am I going to do? What do I want? And then start making those choices and taking those actions, doggone it. No excuses. You know, I don't come to me with wanting to take your side, and there are no sides. We are the side. I love you. You are so powerful, so beautiful. Would you wake up and connect to that, please? Time's ticking on our linear planet. Let's get it over with, man. Just let's go to the other dimensions and have a blast. Do you know how much easier it would be? I can't completely go without you because we're all connected. I'm sending you light and love, peace, happiness. Did you say your mantra today? Did you send light and love out to the universe? Or are you so busy thinking about all your little problems, right? We do that. We get, what am I going to send light and love to the universe. It's powerful. It's going to come back tenfold to you. And you don't do it because of that. You do it because you genuinely want this planet and the whole universe to be in such a high state of love and joy. Did you say your mantra? I am whole. I am perfect. I am strong. I am powerful. I am loving. I am harmonious. I am happy. Thank you for all of the wonderful things that I have in my life. The food on my table, the roof over my head, whether it's your roof or not. The people in my life that do love me. The mentors that are always there for me when I need them. We all have them. There are people that will show up for you whenever you need them. Start paying attention to you. And stop paying attention to the ego. You can do it. Sending you joy, strength, and power of the universe, the light and love, the unconditional love that is always there for you. Namaste.